I believe this is one of the most compelling reasons to lift weights, and we're not even talking about muscle strength, muscle size, or aesthetics. Now, those are all perfectly fine reasons to lift weights. Some are better than others, but they don't paint the entire picture of what actually happens in the process. I often get asked the question, are there any good exercises for osteoporosis or someone with weak bones? Now, the answer is a resounding yes, and that would be any sort of weightlifting. When we're weightlifting, whatever part of the body we are loading, the bones are being loaded in a way that they get stronger. Sadly, the people asking this question are generally older, so if they had been lifting weights for the past 50 years, we likely wouldn't even be having this conversation. Many of these people were very active when they were young, running and hiking, biking and swimming. The issue is that none of these exercises are as effective at building bone as weightlifting is. Now, they're at the point where their bones are so weak that they need to be very careful when lifting weights in order to not cause a fracture. Now, they also likely have weak muscles, which makes it difficult to load the bones enough because we can't lift enough weight to cause the bone to grow. The more weight you lift, the stronger your bone will be. This is a result of compressive forces through the bone, which causes microfractures. These then heal, making the bone a little bit stronger one step at a time. When lifting heavy weights, the muscles are also under a lot of tension, and they pull on the bone at their attachment sites. Now, this causes microfractures where they attach as well, and strengthens other parts of the bone that otherwise would not be strengthened. Our bones are at their strongest sometime around the late 20s. After that point, we will see a general decline as we age. Here's a graph of bone density over time. What we will see is that men will typically reach a higher peak bone density than women will, as well as women will lose bone at a faster rate than men. This process is further accelerated after menopause. Now, what will happen if we lift weights when we're young and we keep lifting as we age? We will have a higher peak in the late 20s, and then the rate at which we lose bone will be less than for the average person, because we continue to stimulate bone growth. Many people don't realize this, but our bones are constantly being broken down and then built back up. This is entirely dependent on the amount of calcium we have in our bloodstream. Calcium is important for allowing our muscles to contract. When we have a low blood calcium, we will see that the bone is slowly broken down by specific cells, and that calcium is then brought into the bloodstream. When we have a high blood calcium, we have the opposite effect, where calcium is added to the bone, making it stronger. Now, you have to make sure that you get enough calcium in your diet to stimulate bone growth, and I'd also recommend taking some vitamin D with that, because vitamin D helps your body absorb the calcium that you take in. This is one of those scenarios where the best day to start was yesterday. The second best day is today. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can still make it stronger. It's just much easier if you're younger. And the younger you start, the better off you'll be later in life. If you still aren't convinced that lifting weights is right for you, I once worked with an older lady whose bones were so fragile that she broke her back rolling over in bed. Imagine her quality of life. She can't even move without sustaining a major injury. These are supposed to be the golden years. But as healthcare and medicine continue to improve, people are living longer and longer. Now, with a longer lifespan comes more time for the bones to continue to break down. So the best thing that we can do is build our bones up when we're younger and then try and keep them as strong as we can as we age. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and go lift some weights.